Hey everyone, this is DWS Darius and welcome to another day in the fish room. So today we're going to be doing a full fish room tour. I'm going to be going around to all my fish tanks and give you guys just an update on what's going on. I'm making this video because pretty soon I do plan on making some changes down here, some major changes. So I figure I'd give you guys a quick before and then later on you'll see the after. But yeah, we're going to be going around from tank to tank. As you guys know, these videos can be pretty lengthy, so I will try to be as brief as possible. So any questions that you have as you watch these tanks, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you when I can. Okay everyone, so we're going to start things off back here. This is on the opposite side of the other aquariums, and this is my 125 gallon grow aquarium. I call it my miscellaneous tank because I just have so much going on, so much diversity, so many different species. So first off, you see the tinfoil eubarbs on the top. I love their behavior. These fish non-stop swim back and forth, and you know, not only does it make it very comfortable for the other fish in the tank, like these cichlids swimming around. The reason why they're swimming around is because of these tinfoil eubarbs. They love just the excitement of the tinfoil eubarbs. It definitely rubs off on everybody else. On top of that, it's very therapeutical to watch these fish just non-stop move. So I'm definitely loving the tinfoil eubarbs. Of course, they will need to upgrade pretty soon because these fish can reach over 12 inches. Right now, they're about 4 inches. But yeah, as of today, I'm definitely loving that behavior. And like I said, that movement it rubs off on the other fish. And that's the reason why some of these fish that are more shy are out and about. So right there in the front, we have a Viejas and a Spillum. This is the largest fish in the tank. I do believe it is a female, so it's not really going to get too much bigger. But I'm loving the color, a nice pink head. I got to stay back here because they are a little bit shy, especially when I have a camera. Then we have, you can see back there on top, the green terror, that's a female. We have a red Texas that's unfaded, the little fish in the center of the screen. You can see the pearl. He's unfaded, but he still looks pretty cool. We have these, see, it's still dark back there. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but we have some Mesoharis ornatus, one right here. You can see that nice green fish. Definitely a very beautiful fish. And we have another one back there. I think I do have a male and a female, but because they are siblings, I'm not sure how well they're going to mate together or pair up. Right here in the front, we have my true red devil. And if you remember when I bought this fish, he was not bought, someone gave it to me for free. This guy was all barred, and now he's completely orange. At first, I wanted him to stay with the barred pattern, but the orange still looks pretty cool. He still has some unique features, that cool looking mouth. Right here is my jumbo clown loach. I'm surprised he came out. But he's swimming around. Normally he hides a lot, but this clown loach is about maybe 10, 11 inches. He's definitely the biggest fish in a tank. I think it's a female. I don't know why I'm calling it a he, but based on the way the other fish respond to it, the other clown loaches, I'm definitely thinking that the big one is a female. These other clown loaches are about 6 inches. I have 5 of them all together. Then over here I have the Cuban cichlid. I think that also is a female. You can see it right there. Who else? I have a couple of plecos in here. I have like 4 bristlenose plecos, 2 that I added intentionally, and 2 just popped up. Don't even remember when I added them. And then I have a Indonesian, not Indonesian, it was some type of dinoid, a silver dinoid. I'm not sure if it's Indonesian, but it's a silver dinoid. He's in here sticking out. You can see his face in the cave. Pretty shy, but eventually when he gets big enough, he will go with my predatorial fish. But yeah, this is my 125 gallon aquarium. As I said, I love the diversity. I love just the movement. This thing is very entertaining. The mix of color from the cichlids, the activity from the tinfoil eubarbs, and then the clown loach is looking good. I also have some plants up here. My pothos, which is not only looking good, but also being additional filtration for this tank. Overall, definitely a very enjoyable tank. Now, I will be making changes to this fish room. As I told you guys, these fish will no longer be in this tank in the future. But I think that this tank will be here, and it'll be maybe a pair or just a single fish in this tank in the future. So after that tank, if we take a look over here, we have my other aquariums. So next we move to my largest tank, my 350 gallon aquarium, where of course I have my largest fish. Now I do show this tank often, so there's really not many changes since the last time you saw this tank. But if you're new to the channel, I'll give you guys a brief look at what's going on. So this tank, 350 gallons, 8 feet long, 3 feet wide, 2 feet tall. Even though this tank is so big, it's hard to tell because these fish are just non-stop growing. So the most dominant fish of the tank is my mid devil. I made a video about this fish last week showing you this guy from his birth till his current stage. And he's definitely a beast. I'm loving his personality. He's not too aggressive, and he looks awesome. I love his shape, and just overall definitely an awesome fish. Right here in the front we have my Cichlid Orinoco peacock bass. This is the smallest fish in the tank, about 7 inches, but I'm loving that color. Usually these peacock bass don't show color until they reach a point of dominance in the tank, but that's not the case with this guy. He's maybe one of the lowest ranking fish in this tank, and he's still showing an adult coloration, which I'm loving. Then we have my flagtail Prochilodus, another one of my favorite fish. I love the color of this fish, I love the size, and most importantly, I love the fact that this guy is peaceful. And every now and then I do catch him fighting with my peacock bass, which is very surprising, but it also is comforting to know that he's not just a pushover. Nobody's going to be able to bully him. My peacock bass, they chase him and he chases them back, so that's pretty cool. On top of that, this guy is an algae eater, so I don't need a pleco in this tank, because if you look at the rocks, they're free of algae. Because this guy, he might do it now, let's see. He's not doing it now, but every few minutes he goes and he's going to do it. He goes and he just eats algae off decor, he eats it off the glass, and he's just like a, look, he's not doing it not like he normally would, but he's just all day grazing on algae, which makes that guy awesome. Then I have some Pictus catfish, 4-line Pictus catfish, one over here. This one is about 9 inches. This one over here is about 11 inches. The good thing about these catfish is that they have that awesome shape. Their shape is like those predatorial catfish, while they're not going to get too monstrous. So I don't really like red tails, I don't like shovel nose, because those fish are pigs and they just get way too big. These fish, this guy is pretty much full grown, this Pictus right here, and he looks awesome. He has the long whiskers, and he's just practical. He's a practical catfish. I thought that they would have been okay with multiple in the aquarium, but I'm guessing that you got to have a colony, because when you just have 2, they will fight. And these 2 catfish fight like dogs. They lock on to each other, and all you see is gravel and stuff fly up, because they're just going in circles, tearing each other apart. So they do have to stay separate, so eventually I will be separating them. But yeah, definitely one of the best catfish in my opinion. Then we have my Crinocicla lenticulata pike. This fish started off nice, then became extremely aggressive, and now he's going back to being okay. He's not really as aggressive as before. I'm thinking that it's because some of these fish are just getting way too big for him to pick on. He used to non-stop harass my peacock bass, my flagtail, the catfish. The only fish that he harasses now is the catfish, occasionally the ghost knife, but for the most part he's calmed down a lot, and I do believe, like I said, it's because these fish are just getting too big for him to bully. After that we have my Cichlid Ocellaris. I made a video, what was it, a couple of days ago, showing you guys his growth from small to his current size. Since that last video, this guy has gained some more color. He actually tried to fight my Azul. He actually won the first fight because the Red Devil helped him a little bit. It's weird how these fish tag team each other, how they partner up. This guy and the Red Devil joined forces to fight this guy. You can see his head has that scratch. So they fought, he gained dominance over this fish, and then a few days later this guy fought him and regained his dominance. But yeah, ever since then he did produce some more color. This fish is about maybe 14 inches, definitely a beast, growing very fast. But the biggest fish in the tank is my Cichlid Azul. This fish right here, about 16 inches, still growing, and I'm loving this fish because this guy has some decent colors. Of course, he has the decent size and not a lot of aggression. So definitely an awesome feature with this fish. Now, I will need a bigger tank because let's take a closer look. You can see his side has all those scratches. Now, that's all from running into the driftwood. Now, I could take out the driftwood, but I think it'll just be better to give these guys a bigger tank so that I could reach that potential size. Like I said, this guy is 16 inches. These fish in the wild could reach 30 inches. Now, they're probably not going to get that big in captivity, but if I could get this fish to 20, 25 inches, that will be satisfying, and no doubt he will need a bigger tank. Other than that, I have my ghost knife in here. He's not going to come out because it's not time to eat, but let me see. You can kind of see his shadow wiggling around. He's in there just chilling. He's not going to come out because it's not time to eat. And then I have my Lima shovel nose. This guy actually is not doing good. I think he's terrified of some of these larger fish, especially the Ocellaris, because the Ocellaris tries to eat anything. So one time I did see him come down, the Ocellaris chase him, so he pretty much stays stuffed in that corner. Now I got to come at night to see if he swims around, because if this fish stays stuffed up there 24/7, definitely a bad sign, and that stress could lead to illness, which could eventually spread to all the other fish in this tank. So since this fish has been in this aquarium which has been for a couple of months. He stayed in his corner. He barely moves. Only when I do water changes and the water comes down, he is forced to swim around. But other than that, he stays in his corner. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with this fish. Maybe put him in quarantine or figure out something. But yeah, everyone, that's the 350-gallon aquarium. After that, we have my 125-gallon planted aquarium. And I will say that I'm not sure if I'm going to continue keeping this tank. I might break it down. Now, I do love the fish in this tank. I love how I'm able to go stick my hand in the tank and get that response. But when you consider just my long-term goals in this fish room, I think it might be best if I just break down this tank. But as of today, the fish that I have in here, I have my angelfish. As I showed you guys in a few videos ago, these guys are doing awesome. This guy right here has a nuchal hump coming in. Definitely a beast of angelfish. I have 4 platinum, 3 blacks, all of them looking awesome. And I have my aggressive discus. This guy is the most aggressive discus I've ever seen. He's a hybrid. I'm not sure if that's the reason why he's so aggressive, but he killed all the other discus that I was keeping with him. And just now, before I started filming, he was fighting this, look at him, fighting a geophagus. Definitely the most aggressive discus. Do have a lot of personality, so hopefully I could maybe squeeze him in one of my other tanks if I do break this tank down, because he definitely is one of my favorite fish in his tank. But yeah, he's awesome. Then I have this geophagus brasiliensis growing out in this tank. This fish will get pretty large, especially if it's a male. The male could reach about 12 inches. By then he will be pretty aggressive, and I'm hoping that I could put him in with these guys or in one of my larger cichlid communities. I have the electric blue cara over there, still on fire. I had this fish for like 3 years and non-stop showing that bright blue, amazing color. We have the African leaf fish back there looking awesome. I had a female Bristol's pleco. I already had a female and a male, but my original female, I think this is the original, she wasn't really producing eggs. She wasn't ready to spawn. The male, he spends all his time in this cave over here, this pleco cave, and the female just wasn't going in. So I added a different female, hoping that maybe I could get some pleco fry. We have the rose lines looking awesome. I will miss these fish because these are just extremely beautiful. Barbs are like my favorite fish after cichlids, because barbs, they have amazing colors and just that activity level is amazing. Other than that, the plants doing okay, but not too great. Eventually, I will take these plants out. I'm gonna try to put them in a immersed setup above my tanks, so kind of have like plants growing, not with this tank right here, but with a different tank, have baskets and allow the plants to grow immersed, but still allowing the roots to be in the water to extract nitrites and waste from the water. That's just an experiment, it's an idea, but eventually I do want to add that to one of my tanks. So I'm going to take out all these plants and have them in baskets around my tank for extra filtration, so they can be growing immersed while the roots and stuff are still in the water, being beneficial to the water, while at the same time being beneficial to me as houseplants in this basement. After that, we have my 29-gallon hillstream aquarium. This tank sits directly beneath my 350-gallon tank. But this tank, I will say also that it may in the future cease to exist. And I'm loving this tank. I love the growth, I love the plants, and of course I love the fish. But once again, when I consider my long-term goals in this fish room, this tank just really doesn't fit in too well. So eventually I may be losing this tank. But as of today, my favorite fish in the aquarium are my cherry barbs. Now I built this tank for my hillstream loaches. They are a very awesome fish, but when you compare them to the cherry barb just steals the spotlight because they're just so bright, especially the males. So we have females over here, but look at that male. Bright red, especially when he's in front of the plants. So he's definitely my favorite fish in this aquarium. But yeah, like I said, this tank eventually will be broken down. So other than the cherry barbs, we have the hillstream loaches like I showed you guys. We have some leopard danios swimming around. And then we also have a few white cloud minnows. I have some neon blue gobies, the male and the female. The male, you can see I'm perched on that white rock. And then I have some shrimp. A guy gave me some shrimp. I didn't know what type they were. They are transparent, so I'm not sure if they're gold shrimp, but they're in here surviving and almost thriving. And then I have this American flag killifish. And then I also have hundreds of Malaysian trumpet snails. But yeah, eventually this tank will be broken down. To the right of the hillstream aquarium, we have a 75-gallon grow-out aquarium. Just have a few cichlids growing out for some of my future plans. The largest fish in this tank is my pier-side cichlid. I love these fish because these guys are gentle giants. He's the most dominant fish in the aquarium. and this guy is just not too aggressive. Not to mention that beautiful color. And this fish will maybe reach about 16 inches. I do believe it's a male, so the males do get larger than females. And just a very awesome fish. Back there in the shadows, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but my female Jaguar is in this tank. Last time I showed you guys that they spawned in this tank. I separated them, but now the female is back in here. I'll explain a little bit later. Then I have a pink convict. These I had grown out in the pond. This right here is a male. You can see right there in the back is a female, and I have another one in the pond that I still have to catch. We have a green terra. I'm hoping that this is a male. I showed you guys the female that I have earlier. If I do have this as a male, they may eventually live as a pair in that 125 gallon tank. But yeah, definitely have some nice blue in the face. Who else? We also have a Geophagus standetronine. We have Geophagus brasiliensis, same species of Geophagus as the one I showed you in my 125 planted aquarium. And then there's also a South American bumblebee catfish. That's a better look at the female Jaguar. But yeah, all these fish are growing out, and eventually this tank will be empty as well, put into storage. After that, we have this 55 gallon grow aquarium. This tank is directly beneath my planted aquarium, and in this tank I just have a male Jaguar cichlid. So before I had the male and the female in this tank, the male just went crazy on the female and tried to kill her. So I was forced to move the female to that 75 that I showed you guys earlier, and the male is the only one in the tank. Now this could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. It could be a bad thing because he being alone without any other fish, it could make him antisocial. So the next time I try to put on wood fish, it could be a nightmare. But the good thing is that it does build more trust between him and me. Makes him associate me with food, which he already does. I can put my hand in the tank, he comes to me looking for food. So it does build a bond between me and him. But eventually when I want to add him to my 210 gallon aquarium, he may be extremely aggressive towards other fish, even towards the female, which could be bad. But for now, he's living in this tank. I love the fact that he's able to live with these plants. I just have a few plants, but eventually they will start growing. I have an Amazon sword in this pot back here. I have some jungle val in that little pot. DIY pots, of course. Some anacris, and so far he doesn't even bother them. I'm not sure if it's just because he's a juvenile, but I'm hoping that he just gets used to plants, and maybe eventually when he is in a 210 gallon aquarium, I can have him, a female, and a bunch of plants. I do believe that that will look pretty awesome. But yeah, this guy about 4 inches, growing nicely, nice personality, and I definitely can't wait to see this guy get bigger. Okay everyone, and the final tank down here in the basement is my 40 gallon reef aquarium. Now with future plans for the fish room, I will also have to eliminate this aquarium. And out of all tanks that I'm going to have to break down, I do believe that I'm going to miss this one the most. And that's because this one is just so alive. It's just such a beautiful, relaxing aquarium. So this tank is 40 gallons. For filtration, all I have is an Aquaclear 75. In the back I have 2 DIY refugiums. I have 2 circulation pumps. And that's all I have. I don't have any fancy equipment, no protein skimmer. And this tank is just alive and looking awesome. Now, I did have a lot of my corals die, not a lot, but all of my SPS, this whole section to the left was mostly Montipora, and that's because I did plan on breaking this tank down a couple of months ago, and when I did that, I stopped dosing, I stopped feeding the corals, and that's the reason why I lost the Montipora. Other than that, everything else is just still thriving. You can see these trumpet corals, they're growing nicely, and I always tell you guys, when I bought these trumpet corals, I only had 2 heads. Now I have about 50 heads. These things are splitting weekly, so I'm definitely getting a lot of growth from the trumpets. This Duncan coral, getting massive, has about maybe 30 heads and is still growing. I was going to frag it, but being that I plan on breaking this tank down, I'm just going to keep letting it grow until I figure out someone to give it to. I have the Devil's Hand leather coral, another big coral. I bought all these corals very small, and they're all growing very large. I have these these are yellow polyps. These right here almost took over the tank. These things are very aggressive, but I do love the flow of them. I love how they move with the current. Just some very nice corals to have in the tank, just a little bit aggressive. You can see how they continue all across the substrate, and these things really can take over your tank because they're just so hardy. They can live in just about any condition. I have them in low light, high light, low flow, high flow, just all over the tank, and they're doing awesome. So yeah, that's all I have when it comes to the coral. And then when it comes to fish, I have a standard clownfish, still kicking it, very awesome fish. I have the pajama cardinals. These fish are very beautiful. These are the oldest fish in this tank, and just non-stop looking awesome. I have one right there, and then I have another one over to the back. Okay, right there in the center we have my Coral Beauty angelfish. Now this fish is pretty skittish, but he's definitely one of my favorite fish in the tank. One, because he has amazing color. He's purple, orange, red, yellow, a nice mixture of color, and he's very active. He's just not too happy to be on the camera. He's there. And then I also have one more fish, a red stoplight cardinal. Now this fish is highly shy, and I probably won't be able to get him on camera. Let me see. Nope. He stays in the crevices and the caves, and he only comes out to eat, but he's a bright red. I think I do have video that I'll overlap this video with, but definitely a very gorgeous fish. But yeah, everyone, this right here is the 40-gallon reef aquarium. I've had it for several years. Not a lot of effort into it, but yet I get great results. So definitely was an awesome experience. And like I said, I will be breaking this tank down. But in the future, I do hope to return to saltwater again, maybe with a saltwater predator tank or something like that. But definitely was an awesome experience. Okay, everyone, and this right here is the 210-gallon aquarium. This tank has made a huge turnaround. Before, all the fish were hiding a lot. Then I added the Oscar. This fish, being as big as he was, became the dominant fish of the aquarium. And he being as bold as he was, just really brought a lot of life into this tank. He's always swimming around, and you know, fish do a lot of following the leader. So being that he was the most dominant, he swimming around caused everybody else to feel a little bit more comfortable. And now I have a lot more activity in this aquarium. But yeah, I'm loving this tank. And as of today, some of the fish include silver dollars. Still have these silver dollars. I haven't increased the school yet, and that's because I'm trying to figure out, should I keep them or should I rehome them. But I have these striped silver dollars, and then I have the spotted silver dollars. I have a female red spot severum, definitely showing a lot of color. She still has that permanent scar that was given to her by the red devil, but other than that, she looks really good. I have Geophagus brasiliensis, another one right here. I would like to keep one of these in all my tanks because these fish are just very beneficial. They spend a lot of time sifting through the substrate, and they really help out the aquarium. I have a red Texas. This guy became this color. When I bought him, he was the same color as the one I showed you guys. He's actually the sibling of the one I showed you earlier. So they were the same color, and this fish peeled. He's breathing hard because it's pretty warm, this aquarium. This tank is surrounded by windows, so it's really hard to keep the temperatures stable. So today it was like 80 something degrees, so the tank is always warmer. So that's the reason why he's breathing so hard. But yeah, other than that, I also have a pair of Jack Dempseys. Before I added the Oscar, these fish were always hiding. The male was very picky when it came to eating. The moment the Oscar came in the tank, I guess he see him as a lot of competition, so now he eats a lot. Same with the female. I have this Polypterus senegalis. Right there is the female Jack Dempsey. And I have my female Jaguar, looking good. She's about 7 going to 8 inches. A very awesome fish. Eventually I would like to have her and a male Jaguar that I showed you guys earlier as the only 2 fish in his tank, hopefully with plants. I do believe that will look pretty cool. And then I have these 3 now tilapia. Now these fish grow really fast. They get really big, but I'm not sure what I want to do with them. It looks like I have all females. This one definitely a female. This one is a female. The only one I'm questioning is that one back there, but these are mouth brooders. So a couple of times I no doubt found these 2 with eggs in their mouth. Now these fish are about, this one right here is about 8 going on 9 inches. This one is about 8 inches, and they can reach about 16 inches. So they definitely get really big. But the thing is, because they're females, like most African cichlids, they're not going to have a lot of color. So if I would have had a male, I definitely would have kept them. But being that I have mostly females, I'm not sure what I want to do. But yeah, they're just in here as dither fish, just to take up space to cause these other fish to feel a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, this is the 210-gallon aquarium. Like I said, eventually I want to have just 2 fish in it, in this tank. And the reason for that is because I just want this tank to be very interactive. This is my main display tank. This tank being on the main floor of my house, so I definitely want it to be a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more just interactive. So yeah, I believe a Jaguar pair will be very nice. You have them defending their fry and all that. Will look pretty cool. But yeah, that's the 210-gallon aquarium. Okay, everyone, and that's been a look at my fish room as of today. So before I go, I do want to do some explaining as to why I plan on breaking down a lot of these aquariums. And it's pretty simple. I told you guys in one of my previous videos, these fish in this tank, they need a larger aquarium. They do get a lot larger than they are now. and I do want to keep them for a long time. So the only thing left is to build them a larger aquarium. I say build because the doorway to this basement is like 29 inches. If it was wider, I definitely would have bought a tank, but because I can't really fit anything down here, I'm gonna have to build a tank down here. And today I actually went and bought me a piece of glass to build a plywood aquarium. So eventually I will be adding a 750 gallon, plus or minus 750 gallons, but a large aquarium over here. And with the tank over here, of course, I gotta eliminate these aquariums, and I'm gonna eliminate those as well. And yeah, the monsters are gonna go inside the new plywood aquarium. I'm not sure how long. I bought the glass today, but I'm not rushing, so it may be months from now. But yeah, that's the future plan. So these tanks will no longer exist. Instead, I'm gonna have one huge tank. The monsters are gonna go in there. When the 350 is empty, I told you guys these guys need to upgrade. So I have my 10 Folio barbs, which do get big, my clown loaches, and then the cichlids. I also have some cichlids upstairs that I'm gonna be combining into my 350. Then I'm gonna have that 125 I just showed you guys, that's gonna be empty. And then my 210 gallon aquarium is probably gonna have my Jaguars or some solo cichlid. But yeah, I'm trimming down the herd, making this Fishroom a little bit more practical. Now, with me doing this, with me replacing all these aquariums with one big tank, I'm doing two things. One, I'm giving my fish a better home, more space. And two, I'm also cutting down the price. So this Fishroom does cost a lot of money. I can afford the food, I can afford the fish, the fun stuff like that. But you know, the electric bill, it does add up. It is heavy at times. And you know, I think in the long term, the more practical way for me to keep going with this Fishroom is to cut down the costs. And by keeping full aquariums, even though I will have more gallons in this basement, I still will be saving money, because instead of having all these lights on separate aquariums, I'm just gonna have one light system for my one big tank. Instead of having all these separate heaters, one heater. So definitely gonna cut down the price, and definitely will be beneficial for the fish that I do keep. But yeah, everyone, this is just blueprints. It's not in stone. I'm still not sure how this is going to go. It is going to go down because I just bought the glass today, but yeah, I'm not sure when. I'm not in any rush. I do want to take my time because this is my first DIY plywood aquarium, so I definitely don't want to rush. So don't expect anything for months to come. But yeah, that's just a little insight of what's going on. This is probably going to be my last Fishroom update as it is in its current state. But yeah, everyone, just a quick look at some of my plans. As always, let me know what you guys think. Catch you guys in the next one.